I'm trying to get where I'm going. Now. The fact that God is not a man means that God is not limited to time. It means that there's nothing temporal or temporary about God at all. Every one of God's attributes are infinite and eternal. Now God has all eternity then to work out his plan and his purpose, which he foreknew and foreordained. You have to understand, saints, that there was an eternity in the past before God began the work that he's accomplishing right now. Y'all don't get it. I bless you further. You have to understand this, saints. Scientists tell us that the light we see from a star now is light that originated thousands or even millions of years ago, but is just now reaching us. And that makes me understand that the work that God is doing on your behalf now is something that was originated eons ago, but likewise it's just reaching you now. Help me, somebody. Touch somebody and say, God is timeless. He has no past. He has no future. He lives in the eternal present. Everything that ever was, God knew from the beginning. Everything that's going to be, God already knew beforehand. He says the hairs of our head are numbered, and that a bird doesn't fall to the ground unless it be his will. He calls the stars by names. The Bible says he keeps them in their courses. He knows the vibration of the smallest atom and keeps, help me somebody, help me again, he keeps all the molecules in their place. Look at somebody and tell them God lives in the eternal now, and everything with God is now. So then with God there's no yesterday, and with God there's no tomorrow. With God it's all now, because time is a material concept. Before matter was created, there was no time. There could be no time because there was no need for it. You have to understand, saints, that time is associated with matter. We have to measure material movements, and we have to measure material things in terms of time. We measure the distance between temporal events in the material realm by what we call time. But before there was any matter, before there was a material world, there could be no time. Therefore God lives in the eternal present. That's why he told Moses, I am what I am. He didn't say I was what I was, or I'm going to be what I'm going to be. He said I am. I am. Now watch this, saints. I'm trying to get us there. God is free from all limitations of time, so that God's consciousness is not in the stream of time. God's consciousness is not in the succeeding moments of time, as is the case with human consciousness. God is not only without beginning or end, but with God 1,000 years is just like a day. Y'all don't want to help me. Therefore God knows. Look at somebody and say, God knows. God knows. Watch this now. In one eternal intuition, God knows in one eternal thought. God doesn't have a whole lot of different thoughts. God knows in one eternal thought that which for our human consciousness is past, present, or future. So that with God then, since he already knows everything in one continual thought, one eternal thought, then with God everything is as though it was already done. That's why he told Joshua, wherever your feet shall touch, I have already given you. That's why he said Jesus was the lamb slain from the foundation of the world. That's why he told Abraham, I've given you this land to you and your children, even though he was still childless, because as far as God was concerned, it was as good as done for them, and as far as God is concerned, your promise is as good as done for you. Shout about it. Shout about it. And you also need to know that God does not change his schedule in order to please us. God has a predetermined to give you your promise when the proper timing comes, because with God it's not about time. With God it's about timing. Look at somebody next to you and tell them, God has a set time for your promise to come to pass. He has a predetermined time for your promise, and he's not going to do anything at all until that time comes. His timing is all a part of his will. Don't shout me down. Look at somebody and say, God has a schedule for everything that takes place, and he takes everything into consideration in his schedule. Every up and down, every intricacy and nuance, every factor, every disposition, every variable, it's in the equation, so that when your set time comes, there will be nothing that will be able to stop it. Look at that person next to you and tell them, when your set time comes, there's nothing that'll be able to stop it. When the set time for your blessing, when the set time for your miracle, when the set time for your increase, when the set time for your deliverance, when the set time for your breakthrough, when your set time comes, no demon from hell, no person or no thing can stop your promise from coming to pass. Look at somebody and say, the set time, the appointed time, the predetermined time, the time set for your blessing. Touch somebody and tell them, God has a time that is set for your promise